I think the level of interest in being more sustainable as a consumer is high, but the level of ignorance is also high.
If there was one thing that you could change about the fashion industry to make it more sustainable, what would it be?
This is very controversial.
Yep.
I don't think automation is a good thing overall.
We like a bit of arty-party. Why not?
And I love what you guys do, and I love automation and what it can do, and in lots of situations it's a great thing. But my heart is for people. And in Cambodia there's 800,000 garment workers. And when automation comes in and takes those jobs, I know what waits for them because I've seen that. I've got to walk through those fields with those people. And it's not pretty. And I don't think it's realistic to think that we're going to upskill all of these people as the automation comes in into new jobs. So for me, I think this is a conversation that needs to happen around this kind of technology, and that we need to be very wise about in the way we transition in. It'd be the same thing as if we all left the fast fashion brands tomorrow. It would create so many social problems that are in fact probably linked to the environmental problems. And there is research that ties environmental and social issues very closely together. So, I always say you can't say you care about one if you don't care about the other.
I think it's such tricky territory. How are we going to navigate it? We know the robots are coming. Yeah. We know that something like half of all jobs might be lost to automation in, I don't know what the time frame is, maybe you know, Jenny. But their future problems we're going to have to grapple with in all industries. And often when we talk about fashion and sustainability, people who are not really into clothes will say, well, just stop buying clothes. God, if clothes are wrecking the environment, stop buying clothes. But what would happen to the 60 million garment workers, most of whom are women worldwide and most of whom have young children? What would happen to them if there was no industry tomorrow? It's just not realistic. But how we navigate our way through that, who knows?
I think it's really interesting because the lion's share of the industry doesn't operate like you do. So you're in a really wonderful position, and I do appreciate where you're coming from. But if all of fashion worked like you did, I think that we would already automatically be in a much better world. The sad reality is that it's not. I mean, you pick up the paper every month. There's an article about how garment workers in insert country here earn 2 cents in every dollar of the cost of that garment.
4%. So
and it's crazy.
If you look at an average t-shirt on the retail floor in a shop in Australia, then the garment worker has received on average 4% of the retail price. Interesting.
Yeah.
Jenny, that question to you about how...
I was going to add to this. It actually links to what you were just saying, Claire, which is I think the fashion industry has an obligation to educate and actually share more. I mean, just in preparing for one of the talks, Claire, that we had together, I was looking at some YouTube videos, and there was some woman talking about you can tell the colors for the next season in fashion because of the colors of the rivers in certain parts of China, and it was like, God, I wish I knew that. Like, that's terrible. What's that next t-shirt really worth to me if I knew that? And the level of ignorance, I think the level of interest in being more sustainable as a consumer is high, but the level of ignorance is also high. And I mean, I have friends who are very smart people that didn't even understand their efforts in the last year to recycle their trash wasn't actually going anywhere other than probably the landfill. And when we had that conversation, I was shocked that they've been doing this for a year and had no awareness. I just think the fashion industry can actually push that conversation, and I do think people will respond.
I think coming back to your idea that tech can be the unlock on some of the mighty problems that we grapple with, there's good news stories behind some of this too. So when you talk, for example, about a lack of awareness and education, tech can really deliver transparency on some of the stuff that will help us as consumers to choose brands that are doing the right thing by people and planet. And if you want to deep dive on this, it's quite complex, but look into the way that blockchain, for example, might be able to facilitate how we track things, how we track all the items in a supply chain. So we can really know that t-shirt was produced in an ethical way using these fantastic systems and processes. So actually, I think the idea of tech unlocking the future for sustainability is a really solid one. This is the one I want to share. I've been mind blown recently by this idea that maybe in the future we'll be dressing our avatars. Have you guys heard of this as a new idea? It's actually starting to happen. So you could order Look 19 off the Burberry runway, I'm making this up, and then you could order it for your avatar. It may never be produced, thereby having zero impacts that are negative on the environment, but you could be wearing it on stage. And when the Internet of Things is all linked up, maybe I could be wearing Burberry for you here, but I could choose that you here see me in Chanel. So I'd love for you just to leave us with a hopeful idea for how we might all be a bit more sustainable in our choices, Zoltan.
That is a great question. I think just think about what you buy before you buy it and make sure that you're going to wear it again and again and again and again. And I mean, it's a very simple thing to do. And I'm sure everybody in here does it. The challenge is not within this room so much as, you know, the rest of humanity.
Okay.
So if you can help them to do that, that would be fantastic.
James, positive words to close on?
It's a progression, and you know, we're all on a journey, and we all care about something different, and we need to be respectful of each other and our beliefs, and encourage each other on in that journey.
Thank you, Jenny.
Mine's about the end of ownership. I think it's such a huge opportunity, and I know I was a bit of a naysayer on can this market sustain, you know, business models and that, but I do think there's a real future there. And you know, you think about all the categories, jewelry, all the way down to more consumable things. I think it's a huge opportunity to crack. So supporting that and participating in it when it might feel unnatural is, I think, really important.
Love rental. Thank you so much for all of you for sharing your insights.